Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh and today I am going to explain you about the ARM microcontroller development board programming in assembly language. I am concentrating only on assembly language programming because you may find many C programs for ARM programming, but you may never find an assembly language program in full complete manner. So I am going to explain you how to write assembly program, how to disassemble the assembly program, how to deal with ARM microcontroller development board both in software mode and hardware mode. For that, we need to have some a brief introduction about ARM microcontrollers development board. So ARM gives its intellectual property to all the semiconductor companies which are going to manufacture their own development board. So we are having many number of semiconductor companies which are providing this ARM development board, and we can find the thing in this website called developer.embed.org. So under this website, if you go to the platforms, if you get an insight to the platforms tab, you are going to see the number of semiconductor companies that are going to manufacture this ARM microcontroller development boards. So there are many semiconductor companies such as STM Electronics, NXP Semiconductors, Maxim Integrated, Freescale Semiconductor, Embedded Artist, Delta. So there are many semiconductor companies, and now I am going to explain you how to work on this FRDM KL25Z. So this is a freedom board which is from Freescale Semiconductor, and if you get an insight of this board, we are going to see that this is equipped with ARM Cortex M0 Plus processor. So ARM is having different variants of its processor: Cortex A processor, Cortex R processor, and Cortex M processor. And this Cortex M processor has also got different variants: M0 processor, M0 Plus, M1, M3 and M4. The most recent one is the Cortex M4 processor. And we can see the features of this Freedom board here. So there are many features of this Freedom board. It works with a frequency of 48 MHz. It has 16 kilobyte of RAM and 128 kilobyte of flash, which is far more than the normally used microcontrollers such as 8051 and AVR microcontroller or PIC microcontroller. It has also got USB host device, SPI channel, I2C channel, UART channel, PWM channel, ADC 16-bit channel, DAC channel, touch sensor and GPIO, and onboard sensors are there, and these are the embed HDK and SDK enabled. So these are hardware debugging and software debugging applications features of this FRDM KL25Z board. Now here what we can see is the layout of the FRDM board. So if we are going to buy an FRDM board, this board will be having this layout. So we can see there are two USB ports. One is used for software debugging port, and there are these many number of port pins that are available for the user to program. Actually, there are many port pins for each. There are around five ports: port A, B, C, D, E, which are of 32-bit capacity, and only these pins are available for the user to program. And these are the analog channels, and these we can see if we get into zoom this one, so we can see that. So this is analog out. So analog out in the sense it will give analog output from digital input. So this is associated with the digital to analog converter. So I'm resetting it to now. We can see here that there is an LED1 here. So LED1 is connected to the port D first pin. So similarly there are two more LEDs on this freedom board, and you can see here. So there is one red LED, green LED and blue LED. So red LED is connected to port B 18th pin, green LED is connected to port B 19th pin, and blue LED is connected to port D first pin. So these are the three LEDs which are used by the user for his or her program purpose. Now we can look at a small program, and before writing a program to ARM microcontroller development board, we need to have some software to compile the program. So mostly we can have this software, that is Keel software, Keel Microvision. So under this Keel website, if we go for this downloads option, we are going to get two options. One is product download and other one is file download. Product downloads will redirect you to download the products that are provided by this Keel website, and file downloads will be giving you the files that are programmed. Some C programs like Blinky LED program or ADC program, DAC program, like that. Some programs which are written in C you can download from this category. If you go to product downloads, you will be asked to download any one of these, or all of these you can download. So the most software we are going to have is C51 and MDK ARM. So C51 you can see here, it is the development tools for all 8051 microcontroller devices. If you only download this one, you can only simulate 8051 microcontroller devices and not any ARM device. To use this effectively with ARM microcontroller devices, we have to download MDK ARM also. So after downloading these two, so to download these two actually we need to register. So when you click on this MDK ARM, so you are going to redirect to a page like this, and here we want to create an account and click on this submit. So after submitting, you will be redirected to this page wherein you can download your C51V 954A.exe and MDK 517.exe. So both has to be downloaded. In addition to that, we have to go to this link, further installation instructions for MDK5. And we will be redirected to this web page wherein we have to reach this link. So if you require support for devices not listed in the new device database, please also download the install MDK4 legacy support. So MDK4 legacy support will give you the devices which are of ARM type that are not included in the 8051 microcontroller devices. So we have to download this MDK4 legacy support. So in this MDK4 legacy support, we have to go for this one because our KL25Z microcontroller development board is of Cortex M type. All these development boards where you are seeing here, so all these boards are of Cortex M type. So all these are of Cortex M type. So we are going to download this Cortex M devices legacy support. So there is no need to download this one. So and on the whole what we have to do is we have to download this C51 software and this MDK ARM software. In addition to this one, we have to download this legacy support for Cortex M devices. After installing all these three, you are now ready to open the Keil Microvision to program our microcontroller. Upon opening this Keil Microvision, we are going to get a window like this. The very first step we want to do is we have to go for this one, pack installer, wherein you can install different packs that are required for your application. If you have got a board from this Maxim integrated, then you can download this one. If you are going to get a board from say Atmel, then you can install all the things, and in addition to this we have to install this generic category software for all these things. So each and every category in this, each and every semiconductor company made microcontroller boards will need all these softwares to be installed. These are 11 packs to be installed on a compulsory basis. And in addition to that one, if you have got a STM board, we can install these things. If you have got say Nuvoton board, we have to install these two things. So in this case, we have got a board from Freescale, and in this Freescale, not all need to be installed. Only the one which we are going to work on is to be installed, and we have to find that thing. So our board is KL25Z series. So it is KL XX series, and in that KL XX series, we can find KL2X. So in this KL2X, we are going to program on this one MKL25Z128XXX4, and this is up to date. So if you install all the things, then you will get this up to date. If you are not installed these things, you will get a submit button like that. If you have not installed that thing, you will get install button or update button on this one. So right now there is no need for me to install all these things. I have installed all the things earlier. Now I am going to show you how to work on this ARM development board. The very first step is to create a project. So we are going to create a new project. new microvision project, and we will give a name here, say example 1, and I'm going to create a folder for this thing, example 1. I have created a project name. I will save it, and now I can choose from these two. So this is the legacy device database, so that we have downloaded from this thing. So this legacy support will give you these things, and the thing MDK ARM will provide you this option called software packs. So we can go to any of the options, and right now first I will show it with this thing 25KL, sorry, KL25Z. So here we can see three devices are available. The one which we are going to select is MKL25Z128, and you can find your model product number from your development board. Now so after creating a project, we will get a source group, and now what we have to do is we have to add some startup files. So I will click on this one, target one, add group. So I am adding a new group so that we will not get confused with the number of files we are having in each group. So add existing item. So we have to add some existing items because startup file could not be created by own. So that is to be provided by the semiconductor company. Now where we can find is we have to go for the installation directory where we have installed the Keil Microvision. In this case I have installed Keil Microvision in D drive and Keil underscore v5. Go to ARM, go to startup, freescale, Kinetis. So our product is Kinetis, as we can see here. So this Kinetis. So in Kinetis we have to search for KL25Z, MKL25. So you can see two files, startup MKL25Z4.s and .c. We have to copy both these things. Copy, go to the directory where we have created our project. This is the example one we have created right now, and paste it here. Now we are going to add to this the two new files. So before that I am going to rename the group as startup, and this group I will rename it to source. So in the startup we are going to add the existing files to the group startup, and you can find the two files that are right now copied into this thing, the source file. So right click on this one, add new item to group source. I will add this ASM file. C program and C++ program you can find anywhere on the internet. There are a number of C++ programs and C programs available for this ARM development of applications. Now we are going to write a simple program, say example. Okay. Now that we have created a project and created a file called example.s, we are ready to write a program for our microcontroller development board. So the very first step to write the program is to write the TTL. So TTL is the title of the program. So title example program, and the second step is to write the area, say code, sorry, code, code read only. So I am going to explain these 4 lines now. So as we all know that microcontroller will have random access memory, read-only memory. So read-only memory is used to code the microcontroller, whereas the random access memory is used to store and retrieve data as and when required during the execution of a program. We all know that read-only memory is called ROM and random access memory is called RAM. So read-only memory, the code what we are writing to a microcontroller always resides in read-only memory and not in random access memory. In any microcontroller system, code resides only in read-only memory, and this random access memory is used to retrieve data or store data into the memory or from the registers as and when required during the execution of a program. Now, we are defining an area called the it is a program, and we are defining the type of the area as code. So this means that whatever we are writing the instructions underneath this one, this comes to be under code memory, and the attribute for this one is read only. If you are not giving any attribute to this code section, by default it will take as read only memory, and we are exporting the main and entry is the point where we are going to enter our main program. So our main program starts from the line 5 in this case. So export main, I will explain you this export main statement later. Now I am going to write some simple move instructions. Move r1 comma hash 0x21, move r2 comma hash 21, end. So this is a simple program that is going to load the registers with some values that are being present here. So the very first step, move r1 comma hash 0x21. So hash indicates here the immediate addressing mode, whereas 0x before a number will indicate that 21 is a hexadecimal number. So 0x21 will make the R1 to be loaded with the number 21H, and in this case R2 is loaded with 21 decimal. That means decimal number 21 is converted to hexadecimal number, that is 16, and 16 is loaded to R2 and end. So this is a simple program, and now we are going to compile our program to see whether any errors has been occurred or not. So this rebuild all, and we have got two errors. Flag preserving form of this instruction not available, same error. So these are in the instructions, move type instruction. So it is the case, it is the problem with this ARM Cortex M0 Plus processor that this ARM Cortex M0 Plus processor will not allow immediate addressing mode with the instruction move. So to have immediate addressing mode, we have to add the postfix called yes. Here yes. Yes in the sense move yes is move R1 with the value 21 hexadecimal affecting the status register. Yes here denotes the affection of status register. So it shows some effect on the status register, whether if we are going to load 0, if you are going to load a negative number, if you are going to load a number with even parity or odd parity. So whatever the number is being loaded into a register by using this immediate addressing mode, that status flag is going to be reflected in this status register. That's why we are going to use here move yes. So now we are going to compile our program. We have got an error. So one error, main, undefined symbol main. We cannot find your error in this program. So we have to go for this startup file, where we have added this startup file, and here we are using the instruction main. So what we are supposed to do is, in our program we are exporting main, and this main is labeled as capital letters MAIN, and here we are importing the main, and this main is labeled as MAIN with two underscore symbols. Now we are supposed to change this to a format where we have created the label main in our main program. So now the essence of importing main is that our system execution, our program execution will start from this point wherein R0 will be loaded with the system init address. So this comes under the indirect addressing mode. We can see it later. and whenever this is executed, R0 will be loaded with the address of this system init label. So we call this as the label and we call this also as the label. So this label will be in any one of the three files, say. So this label could be present in example file or startup file or system file. In any one of the files, this label could be present and it will take the address of that into R0. And BLX R0 is branch with link register extension. So that means it will branch with the it will branch to this location by linking with the link register. So this system init will get an address into R0 and R0 will be carrying the address, and to that address location we are going to branch our computer to execute. So that is the essence of this, and we are going to export main from this program and we are going to import the same main from this program into this program. So our main program execution starts from here. After executing these two statements only, we are now able to execute our main program with these two statements. After that we are going to end. End is end procedure. PROC is procedure, end P means end procedure. Now we are going to compile our program and see that there are no errors and no warnings. Now we can debug our program with ease. I am going to set this window as I desire. Now the very first statement is LDR R0 is equal to system init and the second statement is BLX R0. So if you are going to click on this program, here the yellow color highlighting will change it to that location, that particular location. So right now our program is being executed here. So we can see the point of execution by seeing this yellow color pointer here. So yellow color pointer denotes where the program is being executed now. Now as we can see that LDR R0 is equal to system init needs to be executed and our pointer is pointing to this location, and this instruction is at the address location 0x000000C0, and you can view the program counter contents in this window. So this is the program counter 0x000000C0. So if we execute this statement, then R0 will be carrying the address location of the system init. You can see that system init is located at the address location 0x100 whenever we step into an execution. So this is called step 1 line, this is step over the current line, and this is step out of the current function. If any function is there in the program, then it will step out of the function directly, updating all the registered values as and when required. And this one is the current run to cursor line. So if you place the cursor here and if you click here, it is going to run to this cursor line, updating all the registers in between. Now we are going to see about the step 1 line function. So step 1 line, you are going to get R0 is equal to 0x00000101. Next BLX R0. So R0 will be having the address location 0x100, and we can see for the 100th location where in this program, if you go for the 100th location 100 location, it is the program. So this is the starting location of the program. Now it is going to be executed from this point. So this we can see here system init. So here we have imported the system init into R0 system init. So you can see here system init. So this system init will, the address of the system init will be loaded to R0, and R0 will now BLX R0 will make the processor to branch to this statement system init and under the function system init. So this C statement is equivalent to these three assembly instructions. You can see here. So this C statement is equivalent to these three assembly statements, and this is located at the location 0x100. Now our program will start executing from this point of address line. Now if we step into this one, now our control is here. If we step into this one, it will go to this statement directly. So here it will get executed. So you can see the execution statement, and it has come to a stop here. So it will not, if you click on run, so it will not run because it is checking for this while condition to become false. So because this condition is true, it is getting executed at this point only. And you can see here the while condition has not been given any conditions inside the loop. So only this will execute to infinity time. So this is the problem, because we are not having any development board connected to our PC, this problem will arise. So because this system initialization program is to check for the clock in the development board. So if you are connecting a development board, then it will execute perfectly. If you are not connecting a development board, this simulator will not have any, what do you call this, a clock generator. So this will not have any clock, so it is going to check for the clock and it is going to stop here. It will not execute further. So what we have to do is we have to somehow bypass the execution of these statements. We are going to stop the debugging. So to bypass the execution of the statements, we are going to disable these two statements like this. Now the very first statement in our program execution will be LDR or not is equal to main. Again I am going to rebuild this one. And one more thing we have to observe here is, here there are options for target. So in this target, if we go for debug, we are using here simulator. Simulator means we are going to simulate our microcontroller development board and see what are the changes going to take place virtually inside a microcontroller. So we are seeing it without connecting our development board to the computer. If you are connecting a development board to the computer, then we can use this one and we can choose the required option as required. Right now we are going to use simulator only. Now I am going to rebuild our program. Again we are going to enter into debug session. So in this debug session, now we can see that our main execution has been started from this point of address line. So now the address line is again PC is equal to C0000, no matter. Now the main address is located at 0x0000F4. So if we go to the location F4, we are going to find our program. Here it is our program, and now you can see here. So this is our program, first line, second line, first line, second line, first line, second. Now we have to see the changes that are going to be observed while executing our program. Now what I do is I will go to step 1 line. So R0 has been loaded with F5, and now after executing this one, I should return the control to this program so that I could see R1 is loaded with 21 and R2 is loaded with 16 hexadecimal, that is equivalent to 21 decimal. Now I am going to run into one step again. So I have got this thing, R1 is equal to 21, R2 is equal to 15. So the problem is I have got the entire output at once. So I am not able to see the changes individually, whether R1 is changing, R2 is changing, or R1 is changing after R2 is being loaded with some other number, like that. So we are not having the chance to see the execution step by step individually for all the registers. Now what we can do is, I am going to reset this program now, so that you can see all the registers have become 0 again. Now I am going to create some breakpoint. So breakpoint you can create from this option, insert breakpoint. So here, or also you can create a breakpoint like this. Now I am going to reset our program and I am going to run or step into. So if I click on this one and if I click on this one, it is going to stop at this instruction wherein we have created our breakpoint. So breakpoint is at the location where our instruction is there, move as R1, 0x21. You can see here this instruction is our this instruction, and this is equivalent to 21 in machine language code. Now we are going to execute this instruction in one step. So if you click on this one, you can notice the change. R1 has changed to 21, and if you click on the next one, again this one, you are going to get R2 is equal to 15. So after executing these two statements in our program, it has not ended its execution, but instead it has come to some other location, sim COPC. So it is again coming to this system initialization, and if you click on this one, again it will come to here and it will stop here. So this is our ending point of the program, wherein it is checking for this clock initialization. So we can stop this by adding some more instructions inside the program. Now I am going to have exit the exit. So exit. So as I already said, main will be having one address. So this is a label, this is a label. So if its address location is 5, then it will be replaced as export 5. If its address location is some 10, then it will be substituted as export 10. In the same way, this will have an address, and this is the address that is being given to this branching instruction. Now branching to the same line. So we are giving a branch instruction. So for whenever we want to branch our control in a program execution, we have to give the particular address. So that address is being provided by this label exit. So we are giving the address exit, and this exit is located at the address wherein our branching statement is present. So that means it will branch to this statement like this. So it will branch to this statement forever, and it will stay here forever. Now we are going to compile our program, go to debug session. For debug session we can step into this one, again step into this one. Now we are going to move to our main program. Now here R1 is 21, R2 is 15, and exit. So it will get stopped here. You can see that this yellow pointer is not moving further because we have created a label exit which is on the same line. So here you can see the equivalent code is B0x0000F8, and F8 is at the location here. So it will jump on this location only. So you can see here it is not executing further. Now some other options we can run, some other things we can do here is reset. Now I am going to have this watch window. Go to view, click on watch window, click on watch one. You are going to get a watch window here. Watch window is the window where you can watch the changes that are being occurred in registers or some other labels we have given. So I am now going to enter R1, R1, R2, R2. Now, so I will select this to be decimal display, decimal display. So this will display the decimal content, this will display the hexadecimal and decimal hexadecimal. Now I am going to execute our program. So now our main program is getting executed from this point. Now R1 is 21. So R1 is loaded with 21 heads. So R1 will be having a digital decimal count of 33. You can see here R1 is 33 and in this hexadecimal it is 21. With this statement R2 becomes 21 decimal, which is 15 hexadecimal. You can see the change here, 21 and 15 hexadecimal, and it will get stopped here. So this is our basic programming in ARM microcontroller development board. Thanks for watching, and we will see another video in short.